Hey there. Whoa. Hold on a second. I got a issue and I don't know where it's coming from. Audio input. Test. Okay, I had. Tell me if y'all have a problem with sound. I had a feedback there for a second. I apologize for that. That's not something I've ever had happen before. So if y'all are having a problem, give me let me know. Let me have a heads up. Okay. T. Luke, Lynette, good to see you guys. Tammy Wesley, good to see you. Been a rough week. Buried my great aunt yesterday. Sorry to hear that, Tammy. With many prayers for you. Condolences for your loss. Give you a little prayer for you. Make sure when you're here at the end to remind me of that. We're gonna make sure we pray for the comfort of your family when we're done. Rare Breeds, good to see you. Jennifer, good to see you. The volume will probably come up in a minute when I start talking a little louder. I have an echo, but I think it's actually coming back through my stereo somehow. So I think that's my problem on my end. I have just actually turned it all the way down. Oh, Towelsley. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Hey, Towelsley, I'm just going to call you that probably. Welcome in. T. Luke, Lynette, Rare Breeds, good to see you guys. Lots of love to all of you. Appreciate you being here, and I will try my best to remember that when we get to the end. I'm making this video in response because there's just absolutely no way with the characters allowed at Twitter to have any kind of a conversation without people talking back and forth at each other and not to each other. And I catch a lot of flack over something that I post a good bit, but I want to explain why I post it, go back in time and show why I posted and why it's still relevant even though it's been, I don't know, even though it's been pulled from NIH, it's been pulled from different places where it was originally published. But remember, when you cut out a man's tongue, you don't prove him to be a liar, you just prove that you're scared of what he might have to say. So I'm making this basically in response. It's going to be some new information that we will probably go in detail more at D-Live. Yeah, I'm almost clipping in the red right now on volume, so I can't make it any higher. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to figure that echo thing out when I'm done though. I'll give you. I was actually recording myself singing a duet with another song, just kind of playing with some things. And I don't know what I've done, but I've really goofed it up on my end in here. But we'll get through it as long as y'all aren't having a problem. So let's just get right to it, and I'll show y'all. Y'all have seen it from me many, many times. It was pulled, and yet I keep showing it, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. Here we go. Well, I'm on the wrong page to start off with, but hey, if I had it done right, nobody would expect that. I show this a lot. Now, I don't know how much of this I can read on YouTube. I don't know how much a channel I'll have left after this on YouTube, to be honest with you. I'm fixing to drop some truth bombs for you. Some real truth bombs from Moderna's partner, NIH. If you'll start to pay attention to the mainstream news right now, they are actually printing it as the Moderna/NIH vaccine. Not me doing that. That is the mainstream now putting and showing you that NIH is absolutely a partner with Moderna. We showed that with their partnering agreement way back. I think I have a video of that where the links and all are there, and the link is still good. I looked at it a few days ago. I just have trouble getting back. Okay, I posted this to a response on a 5G thing in Twitter. Well, the people from 5G come back and said, yeah, this just muddies the water. These garbage studies like this. Number one, I don't know you guys, but I'm going to push you toward this video. And I want to ask you guys a question. Now, I don't expect my viewers to read every line of this story. You know why? Because I go to D-Live and read most every line of these stories at some point for them. We've been over this one ad nauseum over and over. Now, I want to show y'all a little something right here to begin with. If you will look up here in the left-hand corner that I just highlighted, that says editorial. Editorial, which means it's an opinion written. This is the opinion of these scientists right here. They got together, they come up with this stuff, and they wrote a scientific opinion. And then they had their opinions pulled. Well, let me tell you something. If these scientists, and yes, y'all called them garbage, y'all called them crackpots, and y'all are the ones that are supposed to be really studying this information. I don't think you're looking into it real good, and you might ought to pay a little better attention to the past and the way terms have been changed. Editorial is an opinion piece. It's not been written as fact, you know, kind of like gravity, and some other things. If you haven't read every word of this study, I don't think you should respond to it. I'm kind of ill about this, if y'all can't tell. I've been thinking about this for 2 days, and I'm kind of pissed at the response I got from the 5G community, actually. So I know for a fact the 5G community that's spitting their little words on Twitter, they're not really doing a whole lot of investigative digging. So check this out. I have read this over and over and over to you. I'm going to post these links into the chat as they come up. And then I'm going to post them into the comment section once the video renders, if it doesn't get snagged down, okay? I'm not going to read into all of this right now, but this is about the new technology causing certain sicknesses just by being what it's being, okay? You know, that these millimeter waves, they can be absorbed by dermatologic cells acting like antennas, blah, blah, blah. And when you read on down, then you start to understand that they're talking about hexagonal and pentagonal cells. Obviously, you guys haven't researched a ton about the viruses that we're dealing with right now. Hexagonal and pentagonal cells. So take this study and read the whole thing before you call them garbage and trash. Just because they're took down does not mean these guys do not have a very sound idea of what's going on, okay? They took a lot of time to do this. They didn't just sit down and say, let's write this and let's just make stuff up and try to throw it out there. They didn't do that. That's not their job. Okay, there's your link for this. And now we're going to get into the studies that have not been removed from the National Institute of Health. Hey, Radical Ralph, good to see you. Sam reports. Jennifer, good to see you. Much love. Appreciate all of you guys. Yeah, I'm kind of hot about this one. So I'm going to move forward, and I was saving this for D-Live, but I need to get this out here in a platform where people can see it if they let it ride. Now, let's remember that this came out in 2019, October, from Central China's Xinhua Net. Central China province launches commercial 57 applications. A consumer tries on his mobile phone at a business hall of China Telecom Beijing branch, October 31st. That is not the... Hold on. Not really sure what I did there. I might have to go to... I think I pulled up the wrong one, actually. And I'm going to find it because I'm not going to even... Let's see what the one before that was. I might have clicked on something. Ah, here we go. I clicked it forward one. My bad. Hey, Adam Baum. Good to see you, man. Much love to you. October 31st in Wuhan. The branches of Chinese major telecom operators in central Hubei province announced Thursday the launch of commercial 57 applications in the province. Little hats off to Mike Morales there. Wuhan City, the capital of Hubei, is expected to have 10,057 base stations by the end of 2019. 10,000 of those base stations by the end of 2019. And then what happens? Oh, everybody gets sick. You know, they catch a cold. They have an immunodeficiency issue. Well, that's just silly because we've been told this right here is garbage research. It's junk. It's no good. It's so bad that a government that's in control of this, that is a partner with one of the mRNA manufacturers, had it pulled, calling it garbage. Let's go back a ways, shall we? What is this? This is from the Journal of Cell Science and Therapy. It appears to have a date of September the 3rd, 2018 on it. Millimeter wave and drug-induced modulation of the immune system. Application in cancer immunotherapy. And you can go on and on through here, and it will tell you in recent years several approaches have been used for the treatment of cancer. These include chemotherapy, radiotherapy, and immunotherapy. Immunotherapy includes systemic administration of cytokines, adaptive transfer of activated T cells, NK cells, dendritic cells, and macrophages. Immunotherapy is used to stimulate and train the patient's immune system to fight cancer. However, this approach alone is not sufficient. Therefore, a combination of immunotherapy with conventional chemo and radiation therapy is commonly used for the treatment of cancer. But systemic administration of cytokines such as interferons and interleukins commonly used for immunotherapy have their own toxic side effects that can be threatening to many patients. In this article, we have reviewed the current knowledge of the effects of millimeter wave therapy on the immune system. Millimeter wave therapy, an alternative and complementary modality of treatment, is widely used in the treatment of cancer and many other diseases in Russia. And we went over and over the Russian documentation where they talk about what they were able to provide with millimeter wave therapy. And they flat out basically say, and everything that has a good effect has an even worse negative effect. And that's my layman terms of saying it. That document has been done, what the Russian law has to say about mind control or something on a previous video. So, I'm going to leave you the link to this study because there's another study coming up that actually makes it so much easier to understand with some easy definitions, and we will get right on into it coming up. Let's see, what do we go to from there? There's another one here. Mechanisms underlying millimeter wave therapy. Millimeter waves have been shown to produce biological effects and are being used for medical treatment. Due to shallow penetration like into the, what's it say here? Let's go back to this junk science. Dermatologic cells acting like antenna. Dermatologic cells. Well then, usually, I lost my place. Oh, I'm on the wrong study, that's why. Due to shallow penetration, millimeter waves interact primarily with the skin structures, dermatologic cells. It was accepted that exposure at intensities of 10 milliwatts per centimeter square and higher were able to produce thermal effects on biological substances due to temperature elevation and high heating rate. And we find out that these exact exposures and the 10 milliwatt per centimeter square, the thermal effects that they have on the human body can actually cause people to have a change in their instinct area. That's in the Russian documents. I'm going to do a whole stream on that one coming up. The latter factor could play an important role in stimulating nerve endings in the skin. Recent theoretical analysis showed that due to thermal noise, the direct interaction of millimeter waves on molecular and cellular levels at exposure intensities less than 10 milliwatts per centimeter square could not affect biological systems. Hence, to identify the mechanism of biological effects of millimeter waves, it is very important to characterize quantitatively power density and absorption. Okay, well, let's quantitative that in another story. Let me share this link with you guys, because this link is actually where the National Institute of Health was granting or putting out a grant for the money for that. Just showing millimeter waves, dermatologic cells, skin surface. This is a list for all of these studies if you would like to go look back to 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009, all of how much money was spent from the National Institute of Health and exactly how much they know about millimeter waves and what they do to the human body. Or what they will still tell us they're. But then we get to right here. All the way back to September of 2002. back before anything was called 57, back before anything was called the new technology, and back before we had anything called COVID, right? So let's check this out. Now, just for the record, I popped this one up because I would like to show you. Might be on the wrong one. Let me see. Might be right here. Right here. This talks about the Soviet Union again. Principal investigator, Ziskin Marvin C. Millimeter wave and drug-induced modulation of the immune system. Millimeter waves are widely used for the treatment of various diseases in the former Soviet Union countries. The three most common frequencies employed in millimeter wave therapy are 42.2, 53.6, and 61.2. And just for the record, they found that cancer cells grow at a rate of 6 times faster at 60 gigahertz. Now let's remember this 42.2, and let's go back to 2002. Effect of millimeter waves on the immune system in mice with experimental tumors from the National Institute of Health, pubmed.ncbi.nlm.nih.gov, a study that has not been pulled. The effect of low-level millimeter fractional radiation on the production of tumor necrosis factor, interleukin-2, interleukin-3, and nitric oxide, and on the activity of natural killer cells, and blah, 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 killer cells. Let's get down to the healthy mice. One sentence right here. In healthy mice, millimeter radiation produced both stimulating and immunodepressive effects. Huh. That's a long word right there, immunodepressive. Well, let's look up right here. rxlist.com, medical editor Charles Patrice Davis, medical doctor, PhD. Definition of immunodepression. It says see immunosuppression. We're going to come back to this one in just a second. Hold on. I skipped giving y'all a couple of links. I think we got that one. I don't know if we got that one. Let me throw it in there again in case we didn't. Yeah. And if anybody actually goes through and does their research and reads all this and tells me, hey, you're wrong because of this, I will listen to you. But if you go up and go, this is junk science, I'm not listening to you. You haven't read it all if you just say that. Period. Okay. Definition of immunodepression, see immunosuppression. Definition of immunosuppression. According to rxlist.com, medical author William C. Shield Jr., medical doctor, and I don't know what FACP and FACR are, just have no idea. Immunosuppression. Suppression of the immune system and its ability to fight infection. Immunosuppression may result from certain diseases such as AIDS or lymphoma, or from certain drugs such as some of those used to treat cancer. Immunosuppression may also be deliberately induced with drugs, as in preparation for bone marrow or other organ transplant, to prevent the rejection of a transplant, also known as immunodepression. Okay, immunodepression. In healthy mice, millimeter radiation produced both stimulating and immunodepressive effects. Let me read that in English for you guys after reading the definition. In healthy mice, millimeter radiation produced both stimulation and it also suppressed the immune system and its ability to fight infection. It suppresses the immune system and its ability to fight infection from 2002. Could be absorbed by dermatologic cells acting like antennas transferred to other cells and play the main role in producing these viruses in biological cells. DNA is built from charged electrons and atoms and has an inductor-like structure. This structure could be divided into linear, toroid, and round inductors. It could be. It may be. This is called an editorial. If we get to the point in time where these people who spent their lives going and doing these things and becoming what they have become, and we shut their mouth, we have already became a communist country. We are already at stakeholder capitalism because our government is partnered with a $1 trillion industry that's trying to make every individual get this jab in their arm. And then they tell us that studies like this are garbage. And they pull them. And then you've got these people that say they're fighting the fight for these things on Twitter that'll come back and say, you're muddying the waters with this garbage information. You know what? Maybe you work for Brigade 77, or maybe you're sitting there at the Israeli table with the other IDF, or maybe you're sitting there with the United States branch of the military that does nothing but scan all day long. And you know that this stuff isn't junk garbage, that it's scientific opinion, and that maybe it is possible, because we can go back to 2002 and find out in healthy mice, the millimeter radiation produced stimulating and immunodepressive effects, meaning it killed their nerve system. I mean, their immune system. The changes were non-monotonous as the exposure duration was increased. The stimulating effect became weaker, and on day 30 it was not observed. Now see, the stimulating effect. We don't talk about immunodepressive at all anymore. They quit talking about the healthy mice, and they only go back to the tumor-bearing mice, and we don't mention the healthy mice with the immunodepressive effect ever. But that sentence in this study corroborates this opinion. And if you don't like scientific opinions, you don't like science, because scientists are full of opinions, especially the ones, you know what I found? I have found that scientists that are funded by government funds or taxpayer funds, they agree with wherever their check comes from 100% of the time. They agree with whoever's paying their bill, whoever's lobbying on their behalf. They agree with whoever's paying them. Or you have a set of scientists who are trying to create science. They're trying to find out what envelope they can push. These people tell you right up here at the top, Journal of Biological Regulators and Homeostatic Agents, editorial. They listed it as an editorial. Flat out. That was it. So when you come up here and say, that wasn't peer reviewed, that wasn't this. No, the people who have the financing behind the $1 trillion industries made sure that it never got any type of review, and that they were demonized and made to look bad, because that's what your government does. If you ever stand up against them and you're out there actually making a difference, they will make you look as crazy and stupid as they can. If you don't believe that these waves play a problem with your immune system, go work around a microwave radar at a military facility. You can be there 20 minutes and you'll have a runny nose. At the end of the day, you'll feel like you have a cold. I worked around them in the 90s so much that I just thought I was sick all the time. I wasn't sick. I was working around those military radars all the time, and nobody was telling us how dangerous it was to be around them. I have no idea what they've cooked in me at this point. That's probably why I stay half sick all the time. Sometimes if I get close to those facilities, my nose runs constantly. If I get close to these towers and stay under one long enough, my nose starts running for no reason, just dripping out my nose. But you know, that's not like influenza or a common cold or anything caused by the technology of the day. No, because anybody who tries to say that this technology causes problems, they get smashed down and are told it's junk. Biological effects of exposure to a radio frequency electromagnetic field on the placental barrier in pregnant rats. February 2021. I don't know if that is actually for the signals that fall into the 3 to 300, the super high frequency spectrum. I think I can get away with saying that without being too bad. Cell phone RFR 1.8 gigahertz. Okay, that's a little, that's lower, that's right below the 3, that's still, but it's close to your Wi-Fi. Okay. I don't really have all of this in a great order because I was kind of pissy when I turned it on. Similar articles. Once you get to this article right here, I'm going to pop this link in the chat again as many times as I can for you guys. And then I got a couple of little personal stories for you guys. of what's happened around me that is absolutely true. You got similar articles you can get to from right there. Effects of low intensity of electromagnetic radiation in the centimeter and millimeter range on proliferative and cytotoxic activity of murine spleen lymphocytes, lymphomas, cancers. Also, this gets into the HIVs, the CCL5, CCR5, immunomodulating effect of electromagnetic waves on production of tumor necrosis, factor in mice with various rates of neoplasm. See, it goes on and on. There is a ton of research out there that has not been pulled, and there's no way for me to come on here and read every line of it to you. And I don't expect you to. But for the people that go in there and come back to with a response of, that's trash, that's garbage, if you haven't read every word of it and you haven't tried to back it up with stuff that was done in the past, you might want to do your research before you just call it garbage. Because we've known for a long time that millimeter waves can be picked up at the skin, they have an effect on the nervous system, and they can actually produce this thing called osteoneuroticism, locking up of the joints, swelling of the feet, swelling of the knees, swelling of the legs, swelling of the hands. So we have all of this going on, but yet we want to call this junk right after a story like this comes out that just keeps going away. It keeps going back to that, but we'll click it back again. 10,057 base stations by the end of 2019 in Wuhan. I don't know how much simpler I can put it than that. And these are the opinions of a construction worker from the great state of Mississippi on the research he has found from the National Institutes of Health that they didn't pull. I will put these links in the video if it renders and don't come down. It's just straight up. It's just straight up from them though. But this one might get it snacked because, well, that's heresy right there. That is blasphemy. That's blaspheming the great God government and their new high priest, Dr. Fauci, because he's partnered with Moderna at the National Institute of Health to make sure that we protect the world with mRNA vaccines. Millimeter wave therapy, millimeter wave therapy, millimeter wave therapy. And this one actually has the sentence. And remember this sentence, guys. This one sentence is the only sentence that I've found that really hits me right in the face in all of these studies. And it's very simple, and they never go back to it. In healthy mice, millimeter radiation produced both stimulating and immunodepressive effects, and then they walk away from it without people ever understanding what immunodepression is. Now, the reason I said we were going to come back to this definition of immunodepression, it says see immunosuppression. Guess what this whole article of immunodepression is about? Respiratory illnesses, 13 types of lung infections, reviewed by Charles Patrick Davis, MD, PhD. Upper respiratory, let me give y'all this link in case I forget. Y'all know I forget. Upper respiratory infection versus lower. What's the difference? Well, it tells you what the upper respiratory infections are and lower respiratory infections. Whooping cough, it tells you what whooping cough is. Swine flu, it tells you what swine flu is. Can you catch swine flu from eating pork? Swine flu vaccine, blah, blah, blah. Bird flu, it goes through all of these. And this is listed under immunodepression because as your immune system drops, these are the type of sicknesses that attack you. Flu, the flu in adults, bacterial pneumonia, viral pneumonia. This isn't Fallout saying this. This is a medical doctor, a PhD. Call him a crackpot. I'm just reading what it says. Bronchitis, common cold, coronavirus infections. Oh, wait a minute. So you're telling me that in healthy mice, millimeter radiation produced both stimulating and immunodepressive effects, And one of the immunodepressive defects is coronaviruses? Oh, but that's junk science, right? That's just garbage. That can't be right. No, that can't be right. That's garbage. Look, coronavirus, COVID-19, SARS-CoV-2. That is from immunodepression. You mean like they found in the healthy mice in 2002? Oh, but this is garbage. Yeah, can y'all see this kind of got under my skin a little bit? That don't happen to me very often, but it's absolutely under my skin right now. For you guys, and I'm not really talking to the guys in chat or probably watching this live stream at all. This is for the people that may make it to this point if they actually watch the video, if it gets rendered. If you've made it this far and you're watching me and you don't realize that our government does away with anything that stands against its narrative, or the bankers that run the corporations that stand to make trillions of dollars from this, then you are extremely lost. You are extremely in a really bad place because you think your government cares enough about you to pull down junk science. Dr. Fauci's daughter is a mechanical or a programming engineer at Twitter. Anything that went up that stood against a narrative or anything that he was against got smashed. Anybody that's that high up at Twitter has their connections to YouTube, Google, everywhere else. They're all tied together. They're all run by the major corporations, which all of their strings are pulled by the Rothschild banking cartel. And I'm sorry, if you don't see that and you want to stand up for 5G, whatever. But if you're going to try to not read the studies and not realize that an editorial being pulled is a step towards straight up dictatorship communism, that you've lost your voice when your opinion as a scientist, when you went and got that degree, is smashed that quickly, then you will not have any forward motion in your fight whatsoever, because you're not looking at anything with discernment. If you've made it to this point, I have something I want to read you. I want to read you something from the people who basically run the world and what they actually believe about you. And this is going to be a little tough because it is extremely dark in here. And I'm just hoping that I can read it. I can find it actually. And it's about wisdom and knowledge. Okay. Check this out. Let me get where I can see y'all. I got to make a little change right here. I want y'all to see what I'm reading from. This is not from the internet. This is not from a link. This is from the book Morals and Dogma, written by Albert Pike. The whole thing, a 1951 version. And I'm fixing to tell you exactly what they say about knowledge and wisdom and where we stand and why it's important to read every word that you can in these studies. I don't read every word, but I do read most of them. And actually, if I come to you and read all of these, I could click go live and read for 24 hours and never get any sleep. That's the whole point. That's why I give you the links. It's the reason I share everything and I don't try to hide none of it. I want everybody to know exactly what they have. Okay, now I got to get where I can get a little light on this. So, the wiser a man becomes, the less he will be inclined to submit tamely to the imposition of fetters or a yoke. Now, let me explain that in English. The wiser a man becomes, the less he will be willing to be put in a chain. On his conscience or his person. On his conscience or on his person. His mind will not be chained and his body will not be chained. For by increase of wisdom, he not only better knows his rights, but the more highly he values them. How many people right now in this world don't even know what their rights are, and that's why it's so easy for them to be taken from them? but the more highly values them. When they wrote the laws, they were written so that you could take full advantage of them. But nobody does because they're blinded by television. They're blinded by the circus of football and baseball and soccer for those of you overseas, and racing and auto racing and all of these things for people like me. See, the circus is real, and the circus is to keep you stupid and is more conscious of his worth and dignity. Those of us that really search for this stuff, we know what we're worth. We know what our freedoms are. And we're willing to fight for them still and take them. And I'm glad to call you Fallout family members, friends, whatever you want, because I know the people that are chatting right here, I would be glad to stand beside in wisdom and fight till the end. His pride then urges him to assert his independence. When you learn that the government has nothing but a chain on you, and you understand that you can actually make a difference to your own chains, you can become a problem. He becomes better able to assert it also, meaning you understand how to fight the system back. This is hard to read. It's such tiny. And better able to assist others or his country. I don't know that I'm always right 100% of the time. I don't. I really don't. I read this stuff and I make decisions for me and my family. And at some point I decided, you know what? I think these things that I see and I do could be beneficial to someone else and maybe help them to gain the wisdom for their family to make decisions. And you may not come to the exact same decision, but at least you've had access to the information. At least you've had the ability to know what they've printed, what they've learned about it, what they feel about it, and make a more informed decision, because you're not going to get informed consent from the people who want the chains, the invisible chains, on you. But mere knowledge, here we go. Now, keep in mind how much you can learn. You can sit on YouTube and you can learn everything. You can sit down and read and you can learn everything. But if you don't sit down and take the time to try to understand it, cross-reference it, like from stories from 2002 back to junk science and these definitions and what all of this becomes, you're just filling your head up with knowledge and you're not getting the wisdom. I'm going to talk about shedding here in just a second. But mere knowledge makes no one independent, nor fits him to be free. This is Albert Pike's words, not Brock's, not Fallout's. This is Albert Pike's words. But mere knowledge makes no one independent, nor fits him to be free. It often only makes him a more useful slave. Liberty is a curse to the ignorant and brutal. All right, Radical Ralph, you have a great evening. Great to see you. You stay well, my brother. And I hope and pray that over your weekend, you have a gold star day. Every time we have a great day here, that's what I think. Radical Ralph would call this a gold star day. Glad you was here to make it. Be with us. That is what is in Morals and Dogma on page 28 in a 1951 hardback version that I got lucky and found in an apartment. It was the only thing left in an apartment that was fixing to be demolished, that the roof was already falling in on and water was running in. That was on the top shelf of a closet, and it was about 4 feet from where water was going to be running in on it very soon. And I snagged it and was like, you know what? Nobody will ever know about this until I start to put it out there. Okay, I'm working on basically a shedding type stream now. I do have a ton of information up, and I will tell you this. If you're interested in shedding and you want to learn about it, look up leaky vaccines. I'm not going to share these links yet, but I'm probably going to stream on this tomorrow. here at YouTube. I'm trying to catch up on some of this. I don't have all of these in order at all, and I don't want to mislead anybody. So that's one reason, but I will show you kind of what I'm looking up. I need to read them a little bit better tonight. That is not it. Okay, yeah, maybe it is. Okay. But you know what? I am going to share these with you guys. Remember this. Wisdom. I have not read through these. So I'm going to share the links anyway. You can read through them. If it's not for us, if it's not for you, get rid of it. This is imperfection vaccination can enhance the transmission of highly virulent pathogens. July 27, 2015. Abstract. Could some vaccines drive the evolution of more virulent pathogens? Conventional wisdom is that natural selection will remove highly lethal pathogens if host death greatly reduces transmission. Vaccines that keep hosts alive but still allow transmission could thus allow very virulent strains to circulate in a population and thus need a booster every year for the mutation, kind of like what we got now. Here we show experimentally that immunization of chickens against Marek's disease virus, and we're talking about chickens, not humans, chickens. So medical misinformation, we're talking about chickens. Don't hit us, I'm talking about chickens and Marek's disease. Virus enhances the fitness of more virulent strains, making it possible for hyperpathogenic strains to transmit. Immunity elicited by direct vaccination or by maternal vaccination prolongs host survival but does not prevent infection. How many people right now are sick after being jabbed? Making it immunity elicited by direct vaccination or by maternal vaccination prolongs host survival but does not prevent infection, viral replication, or transmission, thus extending the infectious periods of strains otherwise too lethal to persist. Our data shows that anti-disease vaccines that do not prevent transmission can create conditions that promote the emergence of pathogen strains that cause more severe disease in unvaccinated hosts against Marek's disease in chickens. Just saying, chickens, chickens, chickens. So I got that one, and then we have, what is this? Let's talk about chickens. This is from epidemics.pse.edu from Penn State University. We're talking about chickens. You know, I got chickens, so I'm studying chicken stuff, right? And none of it crosses over. Keep that in mind. Remember, wisdom and knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge. If I miss anybody coming in, I see Believe, I see Radical Life, I see Born Again Buddhist. Welcome in, much love. Elizabeth Sibach, welcome in, much love to you. Jay Hart, good to see you, much love to you. Welcome in, everybody. I got all wound up. Timsy Skies, welcome in, much love. And I Was Made to Love. Oh, I like that name, I Was Made to Love. That's a great name. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate all of it. There's Chicken Patty. Yep, we're talking about chickens. See, Chicken Patty in the house, and we're talking about chickens. Yeah, not giving my chickens any jabs either, my pie. We just try to feed them right and take care of them. This is a story basically about the same little study I was just telling you. I'm going to go. This is going to be the D-Live stream tonight. I'm going to go over these because when I read these, like I've told my D-Live guys, that's really kind of they're the guinea pig, shall you say. I read all the information there. Sometimes it sucks, but most of the time it's usually pretty right on. Most all of the stuff is right on. But let's look at BioRxiv. Here's your little link you can look at and do your little reading on if you're interested in. Transmission from vaccinated hosts can dose-dependent reduction in pathogen virulence. It's about the same thing, the Marek's disease, but what we're finding out is when the vaccine doesn't... I need to do a little more reading on it before I start to even try to explain it. Leaky vaccines work by enhancing host immunity to a particular pathogen without necessarily blocking or slowing viral replication. The result is that infected but vaccinated individuals have extended survival, allowing highly virulent pathogen that would normally reach an evolutionary dead end in a dead host. I'm not saying that this is a human problem. I'm not saying that this is what's happening. I'm saying this was a study on chickens from 2016. So YouTube, I'm not saying this is happening to people. I'm saying this happened to chickens in 2016. Leaky vaccines, and we will talk more about it in detail on DLive. I'm also going to talk about another story from 2016 where genetically engineered magnetoprotein, are magnets sticking to people right now? Really? I kind of heard something about magnets possibly sticking to people. I don't know. I don't keep up with that very well. But genetically, I don't even know if I'm still screen sharing with y'all. I lost the screen. Genetically engineered magnetoprotein remotely controls brain and behavior. Now, this stuff's going to be coming back to DLive again, to YouTube again, as I get it laid out in the way I want it. These are going to be tonight. I'll read that tonight. And I actually have the two scientists who implanted the false memory into a mouse. In a neuroscience breakthrough, this duo pioneered a real-life version of Inception. Now, I have read this. I want to give y'all this first paragraph because this is freaking crazy. It was the day before Christmas, and normally busy MIT laboratory on Vassar Street in Cambridge was quiet. Of course, it's an MIT laboratory. But creatures were definitely stirring, including a mouse that would soon be world famous for having his wig split. Steve Ramirez, a 24-year-old doctoral student at the time, placed the small mouse in a small metal box with a black plastic floor. Instead of curiously sniffing around, though, the animal instantly froze in terror, recalling the experience of receiving a foot shock in that same box. It was a textbook fear response, and if anything, the mouse's posture was more rigid than Ramirez had expected. Its memory of the trauma must have been quite vivid. What was amazing, because the memory was bogus. The mouse had never received an electric shock in that box. Rather, it was reacting to a false memory that Ramirez and his MIT colleague, Zhu Lu, had planted in its brain. Merry freaking Christmas, read the subject line of the email Ramirez shot off to Lu, who was spending the 2012 holiday in Yosemite National Park. Can you say targeted? This mouse had a targeted memory implanted into his brain that made him have fear that had never really happened. But I'm sure that never happens to people. I'm sure. And then you want to look at PubMed to find out exactly how that looks. You can go manipulative magnetic nanomedicine. Manipulative magnetic nanomedicine. The future of COVID-19 pandemic and endemic therapy. And let's see what the date is on that. I'll try to find it real quick. They're always hiding here somewhere. December 14th, 2020. Here's the full article for it. Manipulated magnetic nanomedicine. And we have super paramedic nanoparticle delivery of DNA vaccine. And this is from... dates on here somewhere. 2014. Super paramedic nanoparticle delivery of DNA vaccine from 2014. And we're going to look over this as long as my internet holds out tonight on DLive. One reason I jumped on here is because my internet's been kicking off at night. I hit the go live button last night to hit DLive, and it went down. I see you, Tam Tam. Welcome in. Much love to you. Now, let's get all of this to the side. All done. Let's get back to here. With all that being said and done, you guys know I don't hold back. I am very, very open about my love for Jesus Christ, the Father in heaven. Ooh, I need some light up there. And I don't try to hold back. I don't get away from it. And that is where my peace and my happiness in everyday life comes from. To me, this is what's important about what we do. Hopefully, me spewing what I read is not important. Hopefully, it helps you to understand maybe how to maybe grab this on your own. I'm hoping tonight, I hope that at some point I get to start coming on during the day some at D Live, and I'll actually go through how I hunt words, how I hunt leaks, what I do that helps me to brainstorm these things and actually help save me some time. We're told that we can lay that yoke off on Christ. He didn't come to condemn us. He come to save us. If you are a follower of Christ, you don't lose out on things of the world. I seen a stream the other night where people were down on Christianity, and I understand that to a point, but then the Christ not existing and all that, and I'm thinking, and then they get into it, well, they say we can't be moral without it. I never said people can't be moral without Christ. The Masons try to do it all the time. They preach morality without Christ. It's not about morality. I probably mess up more than a little bit. You know, I'm not a great person. I'm not holier than thou. I'm a person. I like to live. I like to have fun, and sometimes I get a little rowdy. You know, I got a little bit of that redneck in me, and I smart off to a cop in my heartbeat. People are, are you a Christian? Yeah, well, I'm sorry. He's a man. He gonna get treated like a man. Flat out. That don't mean sometimes I don't have to go, Father, forgive me. I know that was rough, and I probably shouldn't have done that. People go, oh, you can't do this. I don't know of anything. You know, there are some things if you decide to take on that you shouldn't do. But as a whole, we're told, there's a word, and sometimes I forget it. Not to be a glutton. Well, you know what? As far as I'm concerned, if you go out and drink too much every night and you get drunk every night, you're a glutton. Guess what? If you a preacher and you cut church early so you can be the first one to the all-you-can-eat buffet with the fried chicken and the pork and all that, you're a glutton too, and it ain't no different. People say, well, how do you feel about all of the sexual problems in the world? Yeah, it's all sin to me, but guess what? Have you cheated on your wife? I heard about that, right? That's the same thing. One of the 10 commandments was don't commit adultery. So I put my faith in the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost. Which means when I wake up in the morning, I don't put this stuff here on my mind. Right? I don't get up in the morning and say, well, I got to run and hide from these frequencies. I got to run and do this. No, we live in this. It's what we're going to deal with. But it helps me to know, you know what, I can make these decisions for my children. I can make these decisions and try to be better for my wife. I can pray that God protects me from these frequencies and these other things. I can pray that God gives me the wisdom to know whether to take a medication or not, and He does. And that's just the way it is. And then at the end of the day, I pray to my Father in heaven, and I usually have quite a few things that I have to go over because I can be quite a handful at times. I can smart off to people that don't deserve it. I can really smart off to people that do deserve it. And sometimes I just have to go, I'm sorry for who I was today. That's it. Didn't change my life. Didn't stop me from doing donuts in the field and getting in trouble. It just didn't. So that's where I'm at. And that's why at the end of these streams, I pray for you guys. And that's why I tell you, if you have something that you want to pray for, remember, put it in the chat. This is the most important thing we do. Jesus told us to love God, love our brother, and love ourselves. Because in the long run, no man hath more love for his brother than he lay down his life and die. I might be a hellion to the world at times. But there's times when if I see my brother struggling, I'm going to be there to help my brother. And I got a neighbor that I can't stand. I've said it many times. He's just kind of a prick sometimes. But when a tree fell on his house, I was the first one there trying to knock the door down to make sure he was okay. Now, when he was okay, and I was like, got a hold of his brother, I was like, hey, your brother's good, and I'm going back to the house. I've seen all I needed to see. Because that's what we're called to do. We don't even got to like the people. We just serve people. Jesus served. For those of you that don't know, I have started doing a Sunday morning devotional or whatever and praying together on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central on D-Live. Just so we can get together, those of us that don't trust the 501c3 churches, and pray together. And I try to put a little something together, and I think I got something pretty good. You know, they really killed Jesus because he messed with their money. Yeah, I'll show you all that too. He really kind of said he was the Son of God a lot, but when he messed with their money, that Son of God thing was. Pray for Cynthia, Ashley, and Whitney. We got that. Let's remember, I know we've got Cynthia, Ashley, and Whitney. Oh, I'm not saying, okay, born again, I'm not saying not to elevate your behavior. And listen, let me tell y'all flat out, I've been honest about this. I used to run drugs up and down the highway. I served time in the penitentiary. I was a bad drug addict. That is what Jesus Christ saved in my life. To me, though, the Christians think you have to stand up, walk around holier than thou, and you can't have any fun. That's where they're wrong. If I'm out running around cutting donuts and acting loud cars, people will say, well, that's not a Christian thing to do. Well, that's just a lie. That's just a lie in my opinion. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, and when I get up in the morning and I go out, I'm not mad about this stuff. There's some of the people I work around I still have to deal with. I'm not saying you don't get better every day. I'm just saying you're not condemned for it from the door. And a lot of times I'm trying to reach people that a lot of the people I'm trying to reach, they don't have any inclination whatsoever. So okay, we got Cynthia, Ashley, Whitney, and we got Towelsley's family that we absolutely need to pray for. I love all you guys too. I can't see all of the chat on here. It's kind of tough in the little writing on YouTube, but I've been trying to do this. All right. If I miss any requests, type it again. I'll catch it when I'm through, and but I know we got them too. All right. Father, we thank you for allowing us all to come together today, Lord. We thank you for the ability to still have a way where we can meet together and pray to our Father in heaven through the Son, and know that the Holy Spirit is with us, guiding us, comforting us, strengthening us, and quickening us to do the work that we are here to do. Father, I pray that you'll be with Cynthia, Ashley, and Whitney. Father, whatever it is in their situation, I pray that you come in and be the ultimate, whatever it is they need, whether it's healer, whether it's protector, whether it's Father, whether it's, I don't know what it is. Father, you know the situation, and I pray and I'm thanking you now for the miracle of the Holy Spirit wrapping the arms around those individuals and taking care of whatever the problem is. And I'm asking you for that in Jesus' name. Father, I'm asking you to be with the family of Towelsley. Father, I pray that you'll be with them during this time of loss, that you will give them that comfort that was promised to us when you said, I go, but I send you a comforter until I return again. Father, I pray that they feel that comfort and that they know exactly where it's coming from. I pray that anything else that's going on with that family, whatever they need, that in the name of Jesus, you will be there to do whatever it is that they need. Father, I'm sure there's requests in this chat that some people don't want to speak. Father, those unspoken requests, I pray that you know them, I pray that you see them, and I pray that you answer them in your time and in your will, so that your will be done, and that in any instance, all of these things that are shown, they're shown and they see the power from you in it, and that somehow it's beneficial to the kingdom and souls are saved. I ask you for that, Father, in the precious name of Jesus. Father, anybody else that has anything, I pray that you give them the full armor that we all need daily. I pray that you give us all the ability to grab those fiery darts that the devil needs, or the devil throws at us, and that we're able to throw them back. I pray that you give us the ability to speak boldly the things that you would have us speak that are beneficial to the kingdom of heaven and to help us all with our daily lives so that we are better for you daily. And I pray that you also give us that life more abundantly, allowing us to enjoy this great creation that you gave for us. and this great creation that you died and resurrected in so that we could be saved and not have to deal with other men in it. And I thank you for all of these things in the precious name of Jesus. All right, guys. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I told y'all I had chickens. That's my rooster. Oh, and I don't have it loaded up yet, but I got a great video of my hawks today. When I whistled for them, they came out and they got on a limb together so I could get both of them in one shot. That's the first time for that. Yeah, I have some youth red hawks that I can whistle to, and they'll come out. I threw a few things out to the pond for them, hoping that they will go down. We have 21 laying chickens, which they said wouldn't. Well, we had 20, and one of them wouldn't get off the egg, so we let her lay on them. And Rooster's praying for food. So yeah. Yeah, anyway, I told y'all I had chickens. I live in a town and we have chickens. But I live in the sticks of Mississippi, so it's almost a requirement. I don't know. Guys, I love you all. A dog named Boo, Sam Reports, Marcy T, Born Again Buddhist, Atom Bomb, Jay Hart, Linda Chastain, Radical Life, Marcy Chicken Patty, Jay Hart, dog. I'm going to call them out 2 or 3 times. I don't know. A dog named Boo, Rare Breeds, Lynette, all you guys, I love you. Jay Hart, Scan Family, Joni Vandy. So glad to be here with all of you guys. Sorry I hadn't been in here much, but work kind of got me tied up a little bit. My Pie, and Born Again, and all of you guys. I love you all, and I appreciate you all. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. If you don't make it to the next stream, I hope you have a great Memorial Day weekend. You stay safe. God protects you. And I just hope you all have a great whatever it is you got coming up. And hopefully I'll see all you guys tonight at D-Live. I love you. Love God. Love your brother, and love yourself. And everything else will fall into place.